Hello and welcome to Creator Weekly for July 13th, 2025. I'm Peggy Kay. This week there's a bunch of updates for YouTube, especially for the YouTube Partner Program, for Streamlabs, TikTok, edits, the video editing app, Bluesky, and a bunch more. Thank you for joining me. I want to get started with an update for YouTube. YouTube announced that they will be shutting down the trending tab. Now, this launched almost 10 years ago, and it has different sections for different kinds of content, music, gaming, and shorts, and so forth. It also has had a creator on the rise, highlighting a particular creator who's on the rise. The creator on the rise is apparently going to just be with YouTube social media. That's X, Facebook, Instagram, maybe other places. So that's just what the trending tab looks like today. This will not be available on desktop. It won't be available on mobile or the mobile app. So what are we going to have instead? There are still charts. So YouTube has a whole subsite with charts that have trending for music videos. There's a chart for movie trailers. And there's a chart for podcasts. And if you're into gaming content, the Gaming Explorer tab is going to have highlights of popular gaming videos. So what does this all mean for creators? I think it's interesting. Really, the focus is on more professional content. Some of that probably has to do with that being more universally of interest. It's kind of weird, right? I don't actually watch videos from the trending tab. So it's interesting to look at it and see there. And, it's always going to be sort of lowest common denominator videos, a lot of that. But there's so many interest groups on YouTube. It's kind of not that helpful necessarily to have a universal trending list. And according to YouTube, people just aren't using it, which is why they're getting rid of it. It would be nice if there were more highlights of just regular creators, though, and not just sort of professional music artists and movie trailers and things like that. So shifting over to the YouTube Partner Program updates, there are several this week. So if you remember last week, I noted that YouTube announced a policy change to better identify mass-produced and repetitious content. This was just a small notice. It's got blown way up because there are certain popular people and news sites that really extrapolated a bunch of policy changes from this that didn't exist. They said AI content would be banned from the YouTube Partner Program. They said people would not be able to monetize reaction videos and so forth. It felt very much like these types of videos that we don't like, they won't be able to monetize. Now, YouTube did have to respond on social media and say, look, this is really just a minor update. There aren't going to be huge changes. And then finally, the next thing that YouTube did, they finally posted a sort of FAQ, noting that there had been some confusion. So what is happening on July 15th? On July 15th, these changes all go into effect. But really, what's happening is that the monetization policy for repetitious content is being renamed the policy for inauthentic content. Policy basically is not changing. They clarified that the existing policy includes content that is mass produced or repetitive. So this policy, again, it hasn't really changed. Mass produced, repetitive, really spammy content. There is no change to the reused content policy that would apply to things like reaction videos. That policy is the same. And really what YouTube is looking for is original and authentic content. So they gave a couple of examples of content that's not allowed to be monetized. It would be a channel that uploads narrated stories with only superficial differences between them, a channel that uploads slideshows and they're all the same narration. You see some channels like that. It's basically just like a template and they keep churning out content. It's definitely spammy. You can go into the monetization policies and see a whole bunch of other examples, including content that exclusively features readings of other materials you did not originally create, like text from websites or news feeds, image slideshows, or scrolling text with minimal or no narrative commentary, or educational value. So those sorts of things, low effort, those cannot be monetized. Those will run afoul of what was the repetitious content policy and now is the inauthentic content policy. For some reason, I have trouble saying that. I don't know why. So what does that mean if you use AI tools to create your content? YouTube specifically addressed this. They said people are welcome to use AI tools to enhance their storytelling as long as the content follows the monetization policies. And they noted that if it's realistic, altered, or synthetic content, you need to label it. You can do that in the settings for the video. And if you do that, in the description, there is this notice that says that sound or visuals were synthetically, the notice says sound or visuals were significantly edited or digitally generated. So notice that that is not just limited to AI generated content. Right? If you manipulated the audio, the visuals for something that looks real, you should label it. So let me take a moment to say hello to the folks in the chat. Welcome, Craig and Andrew and Nina. It's good to see you here. I'd love to hear what you think about this week's updates. And so the next update is, again, for creators in the YouTube Partner Program. You now have the option to share channel insights with third-party advertisers, brands, and platforms. And the idea is that you turn this on in your channel settings. This is in YouTube Studio, Settings, Channel, Advanced. And if you enable it, third parties can see information about your channel, and maybe they'll give you a deal. If you are doing YouTube shopping, maybe you can have special affiliate options, that sort of thing. So what exactly is being shared? There's a whole list. You can see this in the YouTube Help Center. What is included is personal information like your name, email address, and country, details about the channel, and then data in aggregate for the whole channel: views, likes, comments, shares, reach, that sort of thing. And the idea is you can give brands or advertisers an idea about how well your channel is doing. It also includes your audience demographics, gender, age, location, the types of content they watch. And if you are using YouTube Shopping, it includes shopping performance metrics. And just to note that this does not replace Brand Connect. Brand Connect is a feature you can enable on the Earn tab in YouTube Studio. This gives you a media kit and actually directly connects you to potential advertisers. I think it's connected through Google Ads. So YouTube is saying, ideally, you actually enable Brand Connect and turn on sharing of channel insights. That gives advertisers and brands a full picture of your channel, and maybe then they'll want to do some sort of sponsorship, or you can do promoted content, that sort of thing. Is it worth it if you're not doing that kind of content? I think probably no. So we'll see. Checking the chat, Andrew says, I do a daily list of events, but each day the audio is the same, as I suggest highlighting and having it read back to learn correct pronunciation of foreign language locations, names, and titles, and so forth. If your video visuals are different every time, then that's probably different enough, I would think. A lot of this is sort of, I know it when I see it. Does it seem like it's spam? And then do that. The last update for YouTube is if you are doing YouTube shopping, promoting affiliate products, make sure that you are not violating the tagging policies. These screen caps are from a video from YouTube creators about the tagging policy. Basically, you need to feature the product in your video, make sure it's relevant to your content, and you're using the product in a good way, the way the product was designed. Makes sense, right? They don't want you to be promoting a product and saying, oh, look, here's how I use it to bash people over the head or something like that. Maybe people don't do that. So the update is that YouTube is cracking down on these policy violations. And so you can go into YouTube Studio, go to the Content tab, and find videos that have a tagging violation. There's a new filter in YouTube Studio on the Content tab. You can filter for videos that have tagged products. You can filter for videos that have a tagging violation. Check that out, see where the problems are, and hopefully fix that, because you could lose the ability to tag products if you violate these policies. So now I'm going to shift gears over to Streamlabs. If you live stream on Twitch, Streamlabs Sponsorships is a new program from Streamlabs that helps streamers connect to sponsors. This is open to pretty much all US Twitch creators. You don't need to be a partner or affiliate. They're saying creators of any size can use this to promote products. Why would you want to do this? So the highlight that they're not taking a platform cut from this program. You go in, and the interesting thing is that right now, the offers that you can sign up for, They have a base price that you get paid. It's not a huge amount of money. And then you get a cut if people purchase things via your video. You get like an affiliate cut. So if you're on Twitch, you may want to check that out. Of course, part of the limitation is that you have to use Streamlabs when you're streaming. So if that's not part of your toolkit, you might check it out, but that's obviously a significant limitation. Streamlabs has a bunch of tools for live streamers, especially gamers, and so a lot of people are probably using it anyway. You also have to decide if you want to sell things in your live stream. That may or may not work right now. It's the offers are, I think, Logitech headsets. That fits. That's probably a good audience match. We'll see what they have in the future. So shifting over to edits. This is the video editing app from Instagram. They are adding features almost every week. It's kind of interesting to see. It's supposed to be like a CapCut alternative. You don't need to use Instagram to use this app to edit your videos, but it's mobile only. And it's available for iOS and Android, so everybody can use it. So a couple of updates. There are more insights. If you do connect to Instagram Reels, you can see new followers, your reach, compare how different videos performed. They've added voice enhancement, where you can reduce background noise and enhance the voice. That sounds like a really useful tool, especially if you are recording in a noisy environment. You can share your created videos to more destinations. You can always download these videos into your camera roll, but if you want to just directly share it, you can share to Facebook and Instagram, of course, but you can choose other destinations on your device. Right now, that's only available for iOS, but it will be available for Android soon. And then the app has an ideas tab with suggestions. You can kind of brainstorm there. You can use what they call sticky notes to do things like mark audio tracks you want to use in the future, that kind of thing. So they've added more features for that. So one of the things also about edits is that it is totally free now, but there have been hints that certain features will probably cost money in the future, potentially. I'm guessing it's generative AI features, because those are actually expensive for platforms to run. So try it now. It's all free now. Parts of it may not be free in the future. And then to keep to the theme, Google Vids. This Google Vids is the video creation platform for Google Workspace. So it's business oriented, has a lot of AI tools. There is a new feature where you can balance audio levels between clips. So if you're putting a bunch of clips together, you can make sure the audio is all at the same level, which is a pretty useful thing. You don't want like really loud then really soft, or maybe you do, but it should be your choice when you do this. And this helps you balance that out. So what is happening with TikTok? There were rumors this week that TikTok is making its own an app specifically for US users. So there's a law in the US that TikTok is either supposed to be moved to US ownership or be banned in the US. That has not been enforced. This was supposed to go into effect in January, and then there have been multiple executive orders extending, not enforcing this. But maybe we're getting closer to some sort of change. And so we have this rumor, Reuters said that they talked to someone with knowledge about what's happening at TikTok and that they were going to make this US only app with its own algorithm, which of course is a huge deal for creators on TikTok. If that's true, the algorithm is sort of the secret sauce. And if it's different for US users, maybe it doesn't work as well. Maybe you lose the international audience. Who knows? Now, TikTok, for their part, they made a statement on this exclusive, and they said it was not factually accurate. No details about what part of it was not factually accurate. So who knows what's going on there. Also this week, President Trump said they're close to a deal, spinning off TikTok for the US to US owners. But when China was asked, so, this is a ByteDance, TikTok's parent company is a Chinese company. When they were asked about it, they said China has reiterated its principle and position on issues related to TikTok on multiple occasions. Nothing more. They're not saying there's a deal. This is obviously not a done deal yet. Will it happen soon? Maybe yes, maybe no. I guess we'll find out. Also from TikTok, this is a nice little gift from TikTok. They've open sourced their main TikTok Sans font. This is the default font for videos and so forth. It's now freely available. You can use it, you can download it and use it for your own projects off of TikTok. You can get it through GitHub or Google Fonts. So if you go to Google Fonts, you can find it there. I did check. If you go into Google Docs, Slides, Vids, or Blogger, you can access Google Fonts there and add them to projects. It does not include the TikTok font. I don't know if it will or not. It's open source. It's possible it could someday, but it does not right now. So in the comments, Craig says, what would China do with my information anyway? Who knows? But it is a national security issue. I mean, my personal feeling is that this whole thing about TikTok being dangerous is overblown because there's tons of apps and even your mobile phone carrier collecting information and just selling it. China could buy it if they wanted to. Yeah, who knows? So over on Grok, so Grok is the XAI chatbot. It is on Twitter and it is on X. And on X this week, they made changes to Grok, saying that it should not hesitate to shy away from making claims which are politically incorrect. So of course it went full on racist, anti-Semitic. I mean, I'm not going to repeat any of the things that Grok stated because they were really bad. So they took it offline to fix it. But it also came out that for certain queries of Grok, it actually just checks Elon Musk's tweets. It's like if you're asking about a controversial topic, it's like, what does Elon think? And that's what it gives you. I don't know why you would use Grok when there's lots of other AI tools out there. They all have biases, of course, but this is so blatant. And then just to note that the CEO of X, Linda Yaccarino, she has stepped down. She didn't give a reason why. Is it related to all this? Who knows? On Bluesky, there's several updates to notifications, and one is one I really like. I've been waiting for this opportunity. You basically can get notifications when a specific profile makes a post. Ring the bell, just like on YouTube. And so you go to someone's profile, you click the little bell icon, you can choose whether you want notifications of just new posts or also reshares. That's very useful. You don't have to follow the person, I don't think. You can just get notifications. They also added more granular controls for notifications. You can even be notified of things like likes on your reposts, but you can choose what you're notified of so you don't get overwhelmed. And just an interesting note that Threads, Meta's Twitter alternative, it's 2 years old this week, and it is catching up on X. You can see this is daily active users. Bluesky is that little line at the bottom. Again, the total number of active users doesn't make that much of a difference, I don't think, if your community is there. So use the platform where you find your community, but if you're trying to find a super broad audience, you should maybe check out Threads. And let's see. Oh, Instagram posts are going to be more publicly visible. They're going to show up in the Google search results. They were doing that already a little bit, but this is a specific change for professional accounts where public content now will show up more often in Google search. There are a few indexed things. I see my own post from Instagram indexed. I don't have a pro account, but this is going to be a more systematic update. This is for accounts for people who are over 18 with a business account or creator account. So this is good, for businesses and creators. It makes their content on Instagram more visible. Instagram doesn't really let people browse if they're not signed in. So this can be a big deal. And then just a quick note that if you use Google Drive, they are redesigning the home screen. It's going to look like this, and it has sort of cards highlighting documents that have been updated or that need your attention. And it makes it easy to find documents that have been shared with you. So look for that if you use Google Drive on desktop. So just really briefly, what was happening 10 years ago? It's always something interesting happening. 10 years ago this month, Windows 10 launched, and Microsoft made it free for everyone to update. So what was the big deal? You could get this update to Windows 10 for your PC, tablets, phones, Raspberry Pi, your Xbox, HoloLens, all these different devices. And you may not remember, but going way back more than 10 years ago, you used to have to pay to update your operating system. You would have to buy it, and then you'd have to sit there, and it would take a long time for everything to update. It was sort of a big deal. So a lot of people just didn't bother to update. Making it free and easy to install should mean that more people keep their devices up to date. And for Microsoft, they had a whole ecosystem of different devices. So they really wanted everyone to be up to date on all their devices. That means it's good for developers as well, who know that everybody's using the latest version of the operating system. It's also good for security because the up-to-date system is more secure. And Apple had also made OS updates free starting in 2013, a couple of years earlier with OS 10 Mavericks. So this is the wave of the future. And it was pointed out at the time that this is not really free. Every device using Windows needs a Windows license. It's just that that cost is incorporated with the price of the PC itself, the device itself. So if you buy a PC, it has Windows, that license price is built in. And of course, Windows 10 was hooked into all the different Microsoft services, Bing search, one-box storage, the new Edge browser. Edge was brand new in 2015, various entertainment platforms. Some of these were not free, so this was locking people into the Microsoft ecosystem and making sure they had access to all these latest apps and features. And I will say that that's where we are today. That's how it works today. The operating system updates are free. You don't pay for these updates directly. Of course, it's built into the cost of other things. And you don't really have a choice about new features you may not want. Right now, the big feature is that Microsoft's AI Copilot is integrated into the latest versions of Windows 11. And some people who don't want those Copilot AI features are choosing not to update their operating system. They're probably going to be forced to do it eventually. So there's no such thing as a free lunch, but this does make it easier to keep your PCs up to date. So that's all my updates for this week. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I will see you all next Sunday.